Hi everyone, this is Meg from Flow Financial Planning and welcome to the August newsletter. Today I wanted to start with a question, and that is, if you think back over the last year of your spending, what do you think is the one thing or the one category of things that you have spent the most money on? Perhaps that you're even proudest of having spent all that money on. If you are like most of the people that I work with, the answer that came to mind is travel. And certainly if you've read books like Happy Money, which by the way, I highly recommend, uh, we've all learned that spending money on experiences makes us happier than spending money on things. But it turns out from a very important perspective, all spending is the same. And I say that because people in my world seem to regard travel as this sort of special category that is exempt from the normal rules of spending and saving. They don't track how much they spend. They're proud of the money they spend. They don't really try to cut back on what they spend on travel. But it turns out that a dollar you spend on travel is a dollar you cannot use to achieve any other goal, in the exact same way that a dollar you spend on a McDonald's hamburger is. I mean, are you saving for a down payment for a house? Are you trying to achieve financial independence at an early age? Are you trying to save up so you can quit your job and start your own company, stay home with the kid? I mean, there are a variety of goals. And, cast whatever judgments you want about the relative merit of travel versus a McDonald's hamburger, but those $2 are gone all the same. You are still $1 further away from your goals. Now, I'm not saying that, yes, automatically, without a doubt, you need to cut back on your spending right now. Just go do it. What I am saying is that you need to track what you're spending. You need to know what you're spending on travel. Because like I mentioned before, people just don't do that. They can tell you fairly well what they spend on food or their cable package or whatever, but travel is just a separate, special thing. And it would not surprise me that even though I am not saying you need to cut back on travel, because that's not my judgment call to make, it would not surprise me if once you start tracking what you spend, you decide you want to cut back on travel because you realize it's impinging on your ability to achieve these other goals in your life that are even more important to you. That's a possibility. I'm not saying it will happen, but it might. And it all starts with becoming aware of how much you're spending on travel. So here's what you can actually do to achieve this level of awareness. One is just go back and calculate what you've spent in the last year on travel. Credit card statements, bank statements. What did you spend? There's no judgment here. It's just arithmetic. Now, knowing what you spent in the last year, why don't you take a stab at what you want to spend in the coming year? Are you comfortable with what you spent last year? Some ways of coming up with that judgment is take the amount of money you spent last year. What percentage of your income does that represent? How does it compare to how much money you're saving for retirement or for down payment or your other goals? Are you surprised by that number? Well, good, that's sort of the point of this exercise. But based on that very rudimentary sort of high-level analysis, decide how much you want to spend this coming year in travel. And then set up a separate bank account and label it travel. And then set up your paycheck to automatically deposit money into that travel account so that by the end of the year, you'll have the amount of money you've decided on. And now comes the most important step, which is only use the money in that bank account for travel. It makes it really hard to lie to yourself about how much money you're spending on travel if you've got this one bucket that you cannot exceed. And it's that sort of clarity that's really going to help you align your spending with your values. Now, if you are a car enthusiast, I'd tell you to do the same thing and just label that bank account cars. Or if you are a Hummel collector, I'd tell you to do the same thing and label the bank account Hummels. Math works the same way, whether it is travel or cars or Hummel's or McDonald's hamburgers. Now, if this all sounds really familiar and you maybe want some help getting some clarity on what you're spending your money on, help aligning your spending with what you really value and what your goals are, and you want some help making progress to those goals, maybe those goals that you've had for a long time and sort of stay a steady distance in the future from you, give me a shout. You can make a free appointment with me on my website, flowfp.com. So again, this is Meg from Flow Financial Planning. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next month. Bye.